Example number 4, Natalie. Natalie owns a 3-family house in the Canarsie area of Brooklyn, New York. She resides on the top floor and uses the other 2 apartments as well as her basement for business purposes. Natalie caters to parents in need of overnight services at a rate of $185 a week per child, and she has 12 kids that she caters to in the basement. Her weekly income for that is $2,220. On the first floor, Natalie caters to infants, also at $185 a week. She has 10 kids in her care, and that's a weekly rate of $1,850. In the second apartment, Natalie caters to toddlers. She charges the average rate of $150, and she has 12 kids in her care. That gives her a weekly income of $1,800 a week. Her total combined income for all 3 programs on a monthly basis is $25,417 a month. Not bad. Example number 5, Mr. Walter. Now, with Mr. Walter's example is unique in the sense that he is actually a full-time science teacher for the New York City Department of Education. He runs his program on a part-time basis, after-school services only, and he caters primarily to parents that have children registered in his school. This is his story. Mr. Walter got a location within blocks of the school and created a science-based after-school program. Now, for the parents, it served as 2 pros. 1, they were already familiar with him as a teacher from the school, and 2, he offered a very specific program. Now, it didn't take much. It simply meant that instead of them watching regular movies or playing with board games after they were done with their homework, they had some pets around and magnifying glasses, and they went ahead and did like research projects and experiments that he made it a bit unique. Didn't cost them anything, just a different approach. Now, he had 25 kids in his care, and he charged $75 a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. He grossed $1,875 a week for a monthly income of $8,119. Now, Mr. Walter had summers off, as do every other New York City teacher. He ran a summer program. He ran his summer program for 9 weeks, and he charged $300 a week per child. At 25 kids in his care, he grossed $7,500 a week for an entire income for the summer for $67,500. Now, I should also point out that Mr. Walters was charging $30 a day for all non-school days that he offered services. What does that mean? Well, the New York City public school system has quite a few days off during the school year. Columbus Day, President's Day, winter recess, spring break, etc., etc. Now, for some parents, just because the kids are off doesn't mean that they're out of work. So Mr. Walters was offering full-day services on those specific days at $30 a day per child. That came to a total of $750 a day for all non-school days that he offered services. Now, his yearly income between the summer camp program and his after-school services, not including the non-school days, was $142,500. I don't know about you, but part-time services, 15 hours a week during the school year, and then 9 weeks of work during the summer, I don't know. I would consider that to be pretty lucrative. Now, my last example is myself. It's a little different from the other examples in the fact that I actually started rather small. I started with only about 3 kids in my care, and I charged $150 a week. When I started my program, or should I say when I was trying to start my program, I didn't have the funds up front to get everything that I needed, although I was working. I went ahead and obtained a position as a server, working on the weekends at Fridays in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, New York. After about 2 months, I had saved about $2,000, and I was able to buy everything that I needed to start my program up front. Now, once those 3 kids aged out of my program, I decided to go ahead and go back to school to obtain a degree in early childhood education. Now, a degree is not required in order for you to run your in-home program, but that was something that I wanted to do personally. And in June 2006, I completed all the requirements and obtained my degree. From there, I went ahead and took all the examinations that I needed to take in order to become a state certified teacher. Currently, I'm awaiting certification to teach from birth to second grade. Throughout that entire process, these are the different levels that I worked on. While I was in school, I decided to just run after school services so that I can have enough time to focus on my studies. I invested $35 in flyers, and I visited the 5 local schools in my community, and I gave them out. On the first day of school, I was able to fill 10 out of my 12 slots for after school services Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. I was charging $65 a week. Now I know you're probably thinking $650 a week isn't impressive when you're looking at the other numbers of the other examples that I gave you. But considering that I was only working 15 hours a week, $650 doesn't seem that bad. From there, I went ahead and offered on-call services, weekend services, overnight services, even part-time services for parents who needed childcare. Now, the beautiful part of that was that could necessarily, it doesn't necessarily mean that I would just have 12 kids at $150 a week and that was it. What that means is that I could have had 12 kids at $150 a week during the day, which would give me $1,800 a week. And then that also means that I could have had 12 kids in the evening at $150 a week for an additional $1,800 a week. And then on the weekends, 12 kids at $150, another $1,800 a week. Pretty impressive, huh? My last thing that I did was I actually went to all the schools in my neighborhood, that's approximately 5 of them, and I spoke with the parent coordinators about the youth pre-K program. Now, the youth pre-K program that the Department of Education offers, some of them are full-time services, but most of them are half-day services, which means that the children are only there for about 2.5 hours a day. Now, those are free services, which is good, but what makes it a con is the fact that parents usually work a full-time shift and still need services, once these kids are out of school. So what did I do? Well, I offered a discounted rate. I went from $150 a week per child to $100 a week per child. And what I did was I supervised 12 kids during the day, and then I would walk them over to their public schools to get their afternoon UPK program, while simultaneously picking up the kids that was at the morning session for the UPK program and bring them back to my home to supervise them for the remainder of the day. What does that equate to? Well, that equates to 24 children whose parents are paying me $100 a week each. I was able to increase my profit margin by $50 a slot every week, working Monday through Friday, 8 to 6, the same time slot. In simple numbers, my income went from $1,800 a week to $2,400 a week, which was an additional $2,600 a month. Working the same amount of time, same amount of kids at one time, not bad. From there, here I am helping people like you start their own program, and I have also grouped up with a company that's based in Georgia, and we're starting to write children's books. Pretty lucrative, huh? Now, I gave you all of these examples to point out the fact that when it comes to childcare, there is so much flexibility, and as far as it being lucrative, it really would depend on who you're asking. Now, for some, it may not be all the money that you can make in the industry. It can simply be the fact that you're running a program out of your home that can help you pay for your mortgage. For others, it can be the fact that they're making a pretty good amount of money on the side while they're able to keep their day job. How you define it is entirely up to you. It all boils down to the fact that you need to figure out exactly what you're comfortable doing, what you feel is needed in your neighborhood or the neighborhood that you want to target, and pretty much offering them that service at an affordable or reasonable rate, I should say. I'm pretty much sure that if you take the time to assess all of the examples I gave you, and even all of the things that these providers did on the side in addition to their primary source of income, their main program, you'll find something that makes this industry just as lucrative for you.